He's an egg. And then what? What is that? Let's see. Kazana, show them your card. Is that what happens next?
No.
What's he doing there? He's eating. Is that the right one? No.
So my intentions with the butterfly theme is to fulfill, obviously, the prescribed learning objectives that are set out by the ministry. With the pocket chart, for example, I'm trying to get the children to learn new sight words, which is a language arts PLO that they are required to learn. And I'm trying to teach them some of the letters, some phonemic awareness, listening to the first sound or the ending sound, some phonics. What sound does that letter make? And then at the same time, I'm trying to get the children to stand up and move around, to come up and put things in the pocket charts, so it really engages those kinesthetic learners.
So when we talk about extending and deepening the experience, we're really talking about using the same prescribed learning outcome, but giving the opportunity to children to move from just a taste of the experience into deep thinking about the experience and into even deeper thinking by moving the play to a long-term project that could last in the classroom for as long as a month.
I want you to think about what stage are our caterpillars in? Part of the purpose of that pocket chart was to also show them what they can do when they go to the centers on their own. There are butterfly-related activities such as the writing center. There's butterfly paper. In the art center, there are little butterfly shapes. We even have a science center where we have our caterpillars, which I showed during the language arts or the science lesson. And so they can go to that center and explore with a partner some of the questions that they have about caterpillars and butterflies.
Through this open-ended exploration, children work at their own pace and level as they identify, label, categorize, and reflect on their new discoveries and make sense of the world.
So what are you going to do with it now? Are you going to do something else on it? Or what are you going to do next? It's going to be a surprise. Ooh, I can't wait.
The teacher continues to make plans to guide the child's learning, but she makes adjustments as she observes what the child finds interesting.
You're going to make it a surprise. Oh, I see.
This is the emergent curriculum, where teachers' planning matches the spontaneity that arises out of a child's daily life.
I could imagine that the group of children there who are intensely interested in those pupa moving to the next step, I could see them becoming even more intrigued by the flight of the butterfly. There was talk of them going to see real live butterflies and starting to look at flight. Well, if a group of children, and particularly when it gets to be half the class are particularly interested, a teacher can easily move that into the next stage of what could we be exploring next that could be linked with butterflies? Is it wings? Is it flying? And then flying can become an intense interest in trying to fly kites, which leads us to a discussion of how we make kites and how we might make some in the classroom, and projects on whose kite can fly furthest when we take the beach trip and parents go along with us. And that might lead to talking about airplanes flying and bringing in an aviator to talk with the children about his experiences. And it can go on indefinitely until the children start to lose interest, and then it's time to move to something different.
And caterpillars, when cocoons are sleeping, and then they turn to butterflies. And that's the part they turn into butterflies. Yep, they do.
Which one is your favorite on here?
All of them.
All of them? Can I show you my favorite? Did you get an oval one, Cindy? What do you have in yours that's maybe
A child's language development is one of the strongest predictors of early reading success. And we know that if children don't read by grade 3, it's an uphill struggle to help them reach high school reading levels that are absolutely essential for them to graduate. So paying attention to oral language as soon as we meet these children, and ideally even younger than kindergarten in the Strong Start program, for example, is absolutely critically important.
This is the color of your zipper. This is turquoise.
Hey, look at this one.
Oh, you've got a circle within a circle almost. Oh, and it's flat. What did you find?
Children learn language by using it. They learn language by hearing other children. They learn it by learning it from adults. So the more teachers are moving through the classroom, extending the children's vocabulary by proposing new words to them, by encouraging the class as a whole to practice the use of new words, all brings that excitement alive about language and is a very big investment in their reading success.
This one shimmers. Can you see? If you look in the light, this one shimmers. Do you think this one does? And this one?
Green,
And this one?
red, black.
What I would like us to do, if we could just stop for a minute. We want to be really careful because we've got lots of buttons and mats on the floor. If we could maybe come and just move up to the front, then we'll have a chance to look and see what other people have done.
A skilled teacher plans activities that encourage children to practice using language and to learn from each other.
Tyan, can you tell us? You were busy sorting.
Children thrive on new words and can hardly wait to go home and tell mom and dad the big one they just learned today.
There's a happy face on one of the button mats, okay? Anyone else notice something different or interesting about their buttons? What did it look like?
Animals.
Research affirms that observation with young children is the best way to do assessments. Through observing children, we discover what they know and where they need to go next. Observations help teachers plan next steps and extend and deepen children's learning.
Individual teachers will use their own style, but it's important that they pay attention to not just the immediate activity a child's involved in, but the series of activities that a child's involved in.
Over and over and over and over.
Children develop new skills and abilities one step at a time. And while teachers often see evidence of outcomes, the actual moments during which a child learns can be invisible to those outside the classroom. Many teachers have found their own ways to capture evidence of children's learning as it occurs. Documentation of the learning process might include portfolios, checklists, videos, scrapbooks, drawings, and posters.
It's so heavy.
A bed. Okay, and I thought they were stairs.
We've learned a lot about the creation of learning stories, where a teacher, or in fact children, can be taught to document their own learning experiences through photographs, through representations of their work, and turn them into scrapbooks and portfolios that can be reviewed with families, can be a record of the child's progress through a particular skill or a particular project.
Okay. 29, 14, 41, 42, 34, 45, 46.
This is a learning story about how we all play in the same language, and it's focused on 5 children in our class, and they started out they invented a little game with singing and dancing and chanting movement. They continued, they made rules about the game, they decided how it was going to work, who was going to do what. They continued to change over the rules, and they didn't rely on me for anything in my intervention. This was completely independent. I was just snapping photos. Another little girl who does not speak the same language of these children at all. In fact, they all speak, these ones speak different dialects, and she speaks English. She asked, can she join in? They accepted her into the group, and she joined in the songs and the dancing, and they continued to play for about 5 minutes after that. So there was no language per se behind the play other than play itself. When I look at the picture, it reminds me exactly of what was going on at the time.
What is that?
It's really good for my reflection, and it's really easy. It's a really user-friendly, easy way to assess children.
These are very important ways that reinforce for a child that they are indeed learning, and they can review their progress and celebrate their progress along the way. So, very powerful way to make meaning out of the children's learning over the long term.